Hello and welcome to Titty Talk.
Hi,
We are your hosts. I'm Sam,
I'm Rachel.
and today we have some more interesting things to talk about. And today on our episode, we are going to be talking about a woman who woke up to blood pouring from her ceiling. We're going to be talking about Gal Gadot, who is in the news once again, but this time for negative remarks that she made in support of Israel. We're going to be talking about Lady Gaga and her bravery this past week as she came forward and spoke about a pregnancy after a past assault when she was 19. Stay tuned. A woman woke up to blood pouring from her ceiling, which to me sounds like a straight out of a horror movie. This was posted May 13th, 2021. This happened in Texas. As this article literally says, a Texas woman will have enough nightmare fuel to last a lifetime after she was jolted out of bed by drops of blood that fell on her face while she slept.
Ew.
Imagine waking up to that. You're just like, oh.
Yeah, ew, what the fuck?
Anna, her name, and initially she thought the drops were water, but horror slowly dawned on her after she flicked on the lights in her bedroom. My apartment is covered in blood, she said in a video recorded at the time, which she later shared with local broadcaster KTSM. So Anna's nightmare unfolded at the Celio Vista Apartments, a two-story complex in El Paso, Texas. Anna's apartment was on the ground floor and blood had seeped through the ceiling from above. The blood dripped onto her bed and into her hair. The ceiling fan also flicked droplets around the room, she told the broadcaster.
Ew.
So, not only did she wake up with blood dripping on her face, but she woke up to her fan literally flinging blood all over her room. Anna reported the incident to her landlords immediately, and the police showed up to investigate. Authorities told Anna that the blood came from a resident who lived directly above her. The firefighters knocked down his door, and the body was laying exactly where my fan is underneath. He had carpet, but the blood seeped through to my ceiling, she said. They took my fan down, and a pool of blood came pouring down.
Ew.
Oh, that's, I guess, a picture of just. I don't know what this is supposed to be, but I think this is. It looks like carpet that they pulled up.
That looks like bed. It
Ah!
says blood splatter is shown on
Oh,
on
yeah, yeah,
uh
yeah.
Cardina's bed.
I guess that's it there then, like all here. Ew. Oh, no, I get it. Okay, I thought this was a rip. This is the blood. That's just a puddle of blood. Ew. First responders told her that the man died of natural causes. Anna says she ended her lease and is now looking for a new place to stay. She is also demanding that her landlords pay for her ruined mattress and furniture. As you should, Queen. The apartment had been partially gutted, but flies and foul smells still lingered in the air earlier this week. KTSM reports. Management at the apartment building did not respond to requests for comment, and Anna is still waiting for them to compensate her. This is the GoFundMe page. So far, people are actually donating, so she is getting some donations. Wait, already? Oh yeah! Holy shit! Whoa! Oh,
Their donation thing has been closed.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The organizer has currently disabled new donations. That's nice though that so many people genuinely. Someone donated $100, bro. That's nice though because this is really inconvenient for her. That's disgusting. Oh, okay. So she said here in the GoFundMe, I will no longer be accepting donations as I believe I have more than enough to replace my items and get the necessary health assistance to get through this. Once again, I am eternally grateful for all your contributions. God bless. Oh, that's so nice. Hopefully she finds a better place to live. Jesus. This quote, it was awful, she said. Oh, she plans to get checked out in case of diseases. That's probably a good idea. And you never know either, like if the person had like AIDS or some other kind of blood disease, like yeah. And it said too that he died of natural causes, so who knows how long he was laying there if nobody knew that he was like, like sick or going to die or something. Yep. Oh, probably. And we have the video here, which is a news report from I think it's the local radio station in her area. Let's see what she said.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Daniel Muddy.
And I'm Natasha Paloma. This happened at the Ciela Vista Apartments in East El Paso. KTSM 9 News reporter Stephanie Shields tells us where that blood was coming from.
Well, Daniel and Natasha, imagine you're sleeping in your bed and you start to feel something drip on your face. Now, upon turning on the lights, you see what you thought was water is actually blood dripping from the ceiling. It sounds like something from a horror movie, but that's what actually happened to Ana Cardenas, who lives here on the ground floor apartment. What we're about to show you may be disturbing.
Oh, mi apartamento está lleno de sangre. Ana Cardenas waking up in a panic after seeing blood dripping from her ceiling, the fan spreading it across the room.
Mucho asco. Entré en shock.
It grossed me out. I was in shock. I thought, this isn't real. This is a dream. Wake up. I called maintenance and they said, are you sure? And I said, blood is falling on me.
After calling 911, Ana learned the blood, which covered her bed, clothing, furniture, and even her hair, was coming from the neighbor in the upstairs apartment. A man somewhere between ages 55 and 70 had died.
The firefighters knocked down his door and the body was laying exactly where my fan is underneath. He had carpet, but the blood seeped through to my ceiling.
Ana says police determined her neighbor died from natural causes and was decomposing for about 5 to 6 days.
Y quita la plaquita y se viene el chorro de sangre otra vez.
Ana says her mattress was destroyed from the blood and now she battles apartment management for compensation. KTSM walked through her apartment after it was disinfected. The ceiling had been taken out, but flies and a foul smell still linger. Ana says her apartment management does not return her calls. We tried calling as well.
Thank you for calling Cielo Vista Apartments. We are either away from our desk or with a customer.
But we just received the voicemail. Ana says for now she's traumatized, can't eat or sleep, and needs a medical exam to ensure she doesn't have an infection.
Pues fue muy feo. Fue un impacto muy feo.
Now, Ana says she did not renew her lease and continues to search for an apartment in her budget. In the meantime, she is waiting to hear back from apartment owners to compensate for her damaged belongings. And there is a GoFundMe available. We'll have that link on our website, ktsm.com. Stephanie Shields, KTSM 9 News.
That is awful, Stephanie. Thank you very much for that.
Thank God she raised enough money in that GoFundMe. Oh my God. I'm not surprised her landlords aren't responding, but at the same time, it's like, come on. Rach, you've had some pretty poor experience with landlords too, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they have been very, I guess the word I would use is questionable. My landlord at the last place that I lived in, the stove was old and it was like you could smell it every time that you turned on one of the elements, and we were like, okay, it must just be old. And then we figured like it'd go away, and then it kept coming, and then it kept happening, and we were like, okay. And we actually called our landlord, and the landlord will send they'll hire people to come and check out our stuff for them. And the guy came, and he was like, yeah, so your stuff has rat shit in it. And we were like, sorry, what? And he's like, yeah, there's rat poop, and he actually showed us so we knew what he was talking about, and we were so disgusted. We were like, oh my God, what? Oh my God, we've been cooking our food on this, and
No.
we have been, and even in the oven too, in the oven itself, some people didn't cover their stuff. Imagine all that stuff that's on that food that we've eaten, and it's so gross. And then, yeah, and I was absolutely disgusted. And then he agreed that it was just disgusting how bad it got. And I was really surprised. I was like, wow, I thought you were gonna like try to kick my ass for this. But like he's also really super disgusted by it. And we were like, wow, like you're pretty level-headed. And then he brought it. I think he had to wait a couple days to bring a new stove, but like he brought one and we were like, hell yeah. And then the place that I lived, like the one in London, the floors, you know, so you can buy like wood flooring, sorry, to like put in yourself to kind of like do a self-install. And they had a different flooring underneath, and they just basically put that on top of the flooring. And there are so many holes in it. There's so many like cracks in it. Like I swear, it looked like somebody like put it down. It's like, this is perfect. There's holes everywhere, but this is perfect. And then they jumped on it. It looked like somebody literally jumped on it with steel-toed shoes. I was like, oh my God. And it was everywhere. It was in my bathroom. It was in the basement. It was in my kitchen, the dining room. It was in the hallway. I was like, there's no escaping this flooring, and I cannot wait to get out of here.
My God. Well, like, even in like a situation like this, like this lady, I understand that the person dying is not the landlord's fault, but like, you still owe compensation. Like, this poor woman.
Yeah.
You're telling me that your flooring is so shit that blood can just seep right on through?
Yeah,
Like, oh,
what the fuck?
maybe do some renovations there, buddy. And also, that makes the landlord responsible for the people who live in his building as well, because, like, if someone gets hurt or if this woman got, like, sick or, like, diseased from what happened, like, that's your fault, bro.
They're probably hoping they can get around this or something, say like, oh, it's not our fault that the guy died or something, or like, not my fault that I don't know, that seeped through, I don't know, something. They'll
Probably.
try to figure some way around it.
Or they're just ghosting her. They're like, huh, what? This didn't happen?
Yeah, but like all of my landlords, like the first message I ever sent my landlord, I was super like stern, I was aggressive because I was pissed. And they got back to me and they were like, half of this isn't a problem. I'm like, yes it is, get to work. We didn't have a mail key, and I assume it's because the guys that lived in the house before, it used to be an all male house, and then they made it an all female house, which is why I lived there. And then yeah, I know we had like everybody's partners and stuff live with us, but that's a different thing. And then like we contacted them and I was like, hey, I'm expecting something, but I can't get in my mailbox. And prior to that, we have been like, oh, we'll just go to the mail person when they're here and just ask them to open it and then give us our mail. But because we couldn't prove that that was our house number, they didn't do that for like a little bit after that. Like they did like maybe twice. And then I messaged them and they were like, that's your problem. I'm like, and then I contacted Canada Post because I was like, okay, like fuck you, I'll try. And because I wanted to try, that way they didn't be like, oh, you didn't try. But like, yeah, I did, bitch. So I tried, and Canada Post was like, do you own this house? I was like, no. They're like, okay, well, you can't get the key. And I'm like, but they're telling me to get the key. Like, I'm like, I can't get the key because I don't own the house. And then I told them that, and they were like, oh, okay, we'll go get the key. And it took them a month to get the key for me.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, and then the lady came to the door because she also ran like the parking pass stuff because they made you pay to park your car there. She was like, "Hi, you're getting the pass." So I got and I was like, "Yeah, thanks." And then she gave me the key and she's like, "I don't know why you didn't have a key. You guys must have misplaced it." And I was like, "No, since I lived here, we haven't had a key at all. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, lady." Like,
why is it so hard for landlords to just be decent people?
Because landlords rely on us for their money. We are their source of income. They don't have any other jobs, so they think that we have to do everything because they just want their money.
I don't get it either.
Lazy bitches.
Oh my god. Yeah, right above you. Oh. Well, we're gonna move on now to the next segment, which is less horrifying, but still just as bad. We're gonna move on to Gal Gadot, who has made some very tone-deaf comments about the situation that's going on with Israel and Palestine right now. Rach, you know more about the situation than I think me and Mallory do, so I'm gonna let you explain what's going on over there.
It's kind of hard to explain because I don't really understand all of it myself.
Well, let me open up this link and see if it gives us more information.
They've had tensions for a while, and I would say, like, I mean, everything is technically considered like a war or like a violence or conflict or something. They basically took, I think it's Jerusalem, and then they just split it in half, and they're basically fighting over that, that's what I understand. But Israel is basically like going in and killing everyone. They're bombing people. They don't care who you are or what you do. They're just bombing you using tear gas, rubber bullets. I shouldn't say they have no reason to do it. They just kind of like went in and kind of airstrike a bunch of people. They're just kind of taking everything and blowing it up.
Well, I did a quick old Google search just to get more information on it. And it says on Wiki, the 2021 Israel-Palestine crisis was an outbreak of violence in the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. That commenced on the 10th of May, 2021, though disturbances took place earlier and continued until a ceasefire came to effect on 21st of May. It was marked by protests and rioting, police riot control, rocket attacks on Israel The attack on Israel was carried out by Hamas and Palestine Islamic Jihad and Israeli airstrikes targeting the Gaza Strip. The crisis was triggered on the 6th of May when Palestinians protested in East Jerusalem over an anticipated decision of the Supreme Court of Israel on the eviction of 6 Palestinian families in Sheikh Jarrah Excuse me if I pronounced that wrong. Under international law, the area effectively annexed by Israel is part of the Palestinian territories that Israel currently holds under belligerent occupation. Israeli applies its laws there. On Friday, May 7th, Palestinians threw stones at Israeli police forces and Jewish protesters at the compound of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. In pursuit of the stone throwers, police entered the compound of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and used tear gas, rubber bullets, and stun grenades. It sounds like a war on rights and territory to me, or like a conflict. Well, I guess it's a war.
It's a tweet that I saw. Let me see if I can find it actually.
And it says here, as a result of all the violence, at least 248 Palestinians were killed by Israeli bombardment in Gaza, including 66 children. Palestinian rocket fire killed 13 in Israel, including 1 child. On the 11th of May, the Israeli Defense Forces said that at least 15 of the Palestinian casualties were members of Hamas. Oh, and also said that some of the Palestinian civilian casualties were caused by errant rocket launches within the Gaza Strip.
They're basically as I can't find the tweet, but the one tweet I read, it was basically like they perfectly described it. It's basically they're just committing mass genocide.
That's that's what it sounds like, and like how else can you describe it? It's literally genocide. But last week, we were in support of Miss Gal as she was speaking out against Joss Whedon, but this week we're flipping tides because she came out and said something problematic as hell. Gal Gadot, as everyone knows, is Israeli. There has been like mixed opinions about her for a while about that. Frankly, it was just people being racist, I always thought. But she came out and posted this post on her Instagram. So on her Instagram, she posted a black photo with white text that says, "My heart breaks. My country is at war. I worry for my family, my friends. I worry for my people. This is a vicious cycle that has been going on for far too long. Israel deserves to live as a free and safe nation. Our neighbors deserve the same. I pray for the victims and their families. I pray for this unimaginable hostility to end. I pray for our leaders to find the solution so we can live side by side in peace. I pray for better days." And a lot of people are very upset about this post. Oh, sorry. She posted this on her Twitter, not her Instagram. My bad. A lot of people were very upset by this because obviously it sounds like she is in support of Israel. And while I can kind of see her angle because she is Israeli, at the same time, Israel's in the wrong. So it's kind of... She tweeted that her country, obviously Israel, is at war and she worries for her family and friends and the people of Israel. Soon, the quote-unquote liberals and Islamists descended upon her timeline with angry and hateful tweets, accusing her of being a genocide enabler. And there is some quoted tweets. One person said, "Denying Palestinians even a shred of compassion by refusing to acknowledge them and their suffering is a common tactic employed by their oppressors. You'll see it in a lot of media. If you don't acknowledge them enough and talk about them, they are dehumanized. Thus, the suffering isn't the suffering of human beings. It's an abstract group that people can disregard easier than they can a dead man, women, and children." Another person said, quoting her again, "Not even surprised. Boycott the murderers' movies. Hashtag Gaza under attack. Hashtag Free Palestine." Someone else said, "First of all, Israel never exists, so it's not even a country in the first place. Second of all, it's not a war. It's a genocide striked by your people, you bitch. Oh, Wonder Woman my ass." Someone else, people are getting extreme. Somebody else went on there and said, "I wish that scene in Fast and Furious where you die was real." Someone else said, "When your superhero is always on the wrong side of history, what do we expect from Azonius? LMAO." Israeli soldier turned Hollywood's Wonder Woman multimillionaire Gal Gadot sends meaningless thoughts and prayers as the Israeli Apartment Regiment as she supports and ethically cleanses Palestinians and bombs Gazians in an open-air prison camp. In brackets, she also blocked response to this tweet. This wasn't quoted from her Twitter. Someone just tweeted this on their own. They said, "Just check out who among your circle is applauding embarrassing comments like Gal Gadot's, who is soliciting sympathy for all the concern they feel for Israel, who is claiming genocide is too complicated to pick a side on, while simultaneously implying Israel is on the right side. If they only ever mention Palestinians to say Hamas, they either seriously require your guidance or you seriously require re-evaluating who you allow in your circle." So our own Mia Khalifa came out and labeled Gal Gadot a genocide Barbie over the Israeli-Palestine conflict statement. Mia Khalifa, is she Israeli? I forget.
She's from Lebanon.
So the statement by Gadot didn't go well with Twittery, which slammed the actor over the microblogging site and accused her of being a propaganda tool for Israel. She shared her thoughts, of course. Blah, blah, blah. As well as Mia Khalifa, many fans and public profile figures such as Sen, Ted Cruz, Art Texas, and more came out to protect the Israel-born star over the backlash she's been facing. So Mia Khalifa is against her, but
Yes.
like Ted Cruz and Art Texas are supporting her. Ted Cruz, obviously, I'm not surprised that he's defending Gal Gadot. We know who he is.
The Biden administration's mistakes produced this crisis. And what is Joe Biden doing today? Today, he called Prime Minister Netanyahu not to say America stands with Israel, not to say we have your back, not to say you have a right to defend yourself against terrorism, but instead a tough call, as the administration is now proudly trumpeting, where President Biden condescended and lectured to Prime Minister Netanyahu and urged him to stop defending Israel against the terrorists. Let me be clear. There is no moral equivalency between terrorists murdering innocent civilians and a sovereign nation defending itself against those terrorists.
You're not defending yourself against terrorists. You're fucking mass murdering an innocent country. Like, there is a terrorist group in that country, but that's not the whole country. Also, can we talk about how blatantly in love this guy in the back is with Ted Cruz?
He's like, wow, one day I'll be him.
This guy's like, god damn it, I don't want to be here. And this one's like, Ted Cruz. Look at his face. It's like, as soon as he started talking about, like, he was like, fine. Yeah, he was kind of looking at him, he's like, whatever. And then you just see that his eyes light up. But I haven't seen many other celebrities speaking out against Gal Gadot, honestly. Mia Khalifa is the only one I've seen. But I think we mentioned it in casual conversation before that some celebrities might have publicists saying, like, no, don't say anything. Bella Hadid, whose father is Palestinian, posted a message of support for Palestinians on her Instagram account, which at the time of publishing had been liked by more than 1 million users. The post said, future generations will look back in disbelief and wonder how we allowed the Palestinian suffering to continue for so long. A human tragedy unfolding right in front of our eyes. Politicians stutter neutral words in fear of being reprimanded, whilst the world remains silent to avoid offending the wrong people. History has taught us to speak up. You are on the right side or you're not. It's that simple. So Bella's sister Gigi also posted on Instagram in support of Palestine. It says, one cannot advocate for racial equality, LGBT, and women's rights, condemn corrupt and abusive regimens and other injustices, yet choose to ignore the Palestinian oppression. It does not add up. You cannot pick and choose whose human rights matter more. So, Miss Bella Hadid, someone tweeted this in regards to Bella speaking out about it. They said, Miss Bella Hadid, one of the highest paid models, can do posts and awareness on Palestine, but your fave Muslim influencers can't because of a L'Oreal brand deal. Lol. So Malala spoke out on it, of course. I assume she would. She's a very forward young lady. She tweeted, a Palestinian child should be sitting in a classroom, not in rubble. World leaders must act immediately to protect the human rights of Palestinians.
I want to express my solidarity with Palestinian people. After decades of oppression against Palestinians, we cannot deny the asymmetry of power and the brutality. From Israeli airstrikes on women and children in Gaza to stun grenades targeting worshippers in Al-Aqsa. Forced displacements, arrests, beatings, and killings are a crime against humanity. People around the world, including Muslims, Christians, and Jews, are calling on leaders to protect Palestinians' human rights. I especially call on for children's safety. A Palestinian child should be sitting in a classroom, not in rubble. World leaders must act immediately.
She also tweeted, the violence in Jerusalem, especially against children, is unbearable. This long conflict has cost many children their lives and their futures. Leaders must act immediately. There is no peace when children and civilians are not safe. The British musician Zayn Malik also shared a UNICEF report with his 31 million followers. He informed them of the Palestinian children who have been killed in the conflict. He didn't put a quote or anything, but he simply shared the link. UNICEF posted this information. Over the past 2 days, 37 Palestinian children have been injured and arrested in East Jerusalem. All children should be protected from violence and kept out of harm's way at all times. Susan Sarandon also tweeted a picture on her account that says, myth, Palestine and Israel are in conflict. Fact, what is happening in Palestine is settler colonialism, military occupation, land theft, and ethnic cleansing. A conflict means there's equal footing, which is not the case. There is an active oppressor, Israel, and an oppressed, Palestine. A colonizer, Israel, and a colonized, Palestine. This is not a conflict. Rihanna posted on Instagram, my heart is breaking with the violence I'm seeing displayed between Israel and Palestine. I can't bear to see it. Innocent Israeli and Palestinian children are hiding in bomb shelters, over 40 lives lost in Gaza alone, at least 13 of whom were also innocent children. There needs to be some kind of resolve. We are sadly watching innocent people fall victim to notions perpetuated by government and extremists, and this cycle needs to be broken. I can see why people would have a problem with that, because she made it sound like Israel was also the victim. Oh, there is a quote here. Someone replied to Rihanna's tweet. This will clear things up a bit. Someone said, hey Rihanna, Palestinians don't have bomb shelters. We don't have any protection. There is no shelter. Palestinians in Gaza have nowhere to hide and nowhere to go. Palestinians have no military, no nuclear weapons. We are not bankrolled by millions of US dollars. Happy to discuss. So that's why. I guess it's because Rihanna kind of just made like a general statement. And she, I don't know, I guess you could say she like dumbed down how bad it is in Palestine. Yeah. Another Twitter user said, Rihanna said, I'm standing with humanity, yet choose to stay neutral about it. How many times do we need to say that Palestine are the oppressed and not the oppressor? That seems to be not every celebrity, but the ones who've spoke out about it, a lot of them are saying, oh, I'll stay neutral. What's nice is that a lot of them obviously are in support of Palestine, which is what we want to see. So, moving on to segment 3 now. Our third segment today is about Lady Gaga and how she has come forward speaking about sexual assault that took place when she was 19 by one of her producers. So this is incredibly recent. This just came out. Lady Gaga revealed that she suffered a breakdown as a result of a sexual assault that led to a pregnancy. The star was 19 when she was essayed by a male music producer who had threatened to burn her music if she did not take her clothes off. She says her alleged assaulter then dropped me off pregnant on a corner because I was vomiting and sick. Years later, she had a total psychotic break and was in an ultra state of paranoia as a result of the trauma. Gaga, whose real name is Stephanie, was speaking on the first episode of Oprah Winfrey and Prince Harry's new Apple TV Plus series, The Me You Can't See, which tackles the stigma around mental health. She broke down in tears as she described her assault, which took place in her early days in the music industry. Gaga said, I was 19 years old and I was working in the business, and a producer said to me, take your clothes off, she recalled. I said no and left, and they told me they were going to burn all my music, and they didn't stop. They didn't stop asking me, and I just froze, and I don't even remember. Now 35, the singer said she would never name her attacker. She said, I understand this Me Too movement. I understand that some people feel really comfortable with this, and I do not, she continued. I do not want to face that person ever again. I was thinking too, with the whole Me Too movement, we found out, I mean, I think we all kind of knew, but we found out there was a lot of sexual misconduct within, like, acting, like Hollywood in that way. So I'm wondering now if we're going to be getting the music side of it, if a lot of music producers are going to be exposed and people are going to be coming forward. Gaga first described her assault in 2014 and addressed it in songs such as Swine and Till It Happens to You, which soundtracked The Hunting Ground, a documentary about sexual assaults on U.S. college campuses, and was nominated for an Oscar in 2016. She said her breakdown came years later and was still going on when she accepted her Oscar for A Star is Born in 2019. It began when she was admitted to the hospital for acute pain and numbness and was surprised to be sent to see a psychiatrist. I couldn't feel my own body, she recalled. First I felt full-on pain, then I felt numb, and I was sick for weeks after. I realized that it was the same pain I felt when the person who assaulted me dropped me off pregnant on a corner at my parents' house because I was vomiting and sick, because I had been being abused and I was locked away in a studio for months. The star added that trauma had changed her as a person. It would never leave her. Gaga also said, I had a total psychotic break, and for a couple years I was not the same girl. The way that I feel when I feel pain was how I felt after I was assaulted. I've had so many MRIs and scans where they don't find nothing, but your body remembers. It took her 2.5 years to recover, she said, but getting triggered once is enough for her to slip back into feelings of physical and emotional pain. However, she ended on a hopeful note, saying that after years of effort, she had learned all the ways to pull myself out of it. It all started to slowly change. Gaga is one of a number of well-known faces to take part in the Me You Can't See, including Glenn Close, Olympic boxer Virginia Fucus, and celebrity chef Rashid Armstead, as well as Winfrey and the Duke of Sussex. Yeah, that's 10 plus
Too
years.
long. Yeah.
I respect her different take on the Me Too movement as well, like keeping the person's name private. I understand it can be very triggering for someone to even talk about that person again, or mention their name, or see them on the news, obviously. I mean, in my personal opinion, any scum who assaults anyone should not, they should not be alive.
They can rot in hell.
I know Gaga will have a lot of support on this side as well, obviously. Well, any decent human being would, but she has a huge following, especially in terms of how much she supports the LGBT community. She has a huge backing. I also have just a video here reporting more on what she said and just kind of giving more detail.
While appearing on the new Apple TV series called The Me You Can't See, Lady Gaga revealed some shocking details about being the victim of SA at 19 years old. Not only that, but the man who did this kept her locked away in a studio for months on end and impregnated her as well. I'm going to get into all those details in just a moment, but first I must warn you that this story is going to discuss a lot of things that may be triggering for some. Because of YouTube, we will naturally have to censor a lot of words, but I thought that I would at least give you a warning ahead of time just in case. Now without any further delay, let's begin. As I mentioned during the new Apple TV docu-series hosted by Oprah Winfrey, celebrities such as Prince Harry and Lady Gaga appeared to share their shocking past. Gaga, whose real name is Stephanie, recounted needing to seek treatment for the physical pain that she felt years after being forcibly taken advantage of. The recurring sensation of intense pain began to turn into numbness that felt familiar. She goes on to say, I realized that it was the same pain that I felt when the person who me dropped me off pregnant on a corner by my parents' house because I was vomiting and sick because I had been being abused. Adding, I was locked away in a studio for months. On another occasion, Stephanie said that this producer actually threatened to burn her music if she didn't take off her clothes, which is absolutely disgusting that she had to even go through this, and I'm sure there's more that she just doesn't want to relive right now. Gaga also said that she doesn't plan on publicly identifying who this producer is because she does not want to ever face them again. Speaking on the traumatic events of her past further, Stephanie remembered having a total psychotic break after being taken advantage of. And for a couple of years, she said that she just wasn't the same girl. In recent years, she also discovered that she has post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of what she went through, and on top of that, fibromyalgia, which is a condition that causes pain all over her body. A really hard thing to grasp too was when she said during this interview that the way that she feels pain now is the same way that she felt it right after this event happened. It's as if this traumatic event left some sort of imprint in how her body processes pain. Stephanie goes on to speak about this further, saying, I've had so many MRIs and scans, they don't find nothing, but your body remembers. I couldn't feel anything. I disassociated. It's like your brain goes offline. You don't know why no one else is panicking, but you are in an ultra state of paranoia. In order to work her way back from this, she said she needed to find a way to heal her mental health as well. Gaga said that the process of healing her mental health was a slow rise. She would begin making steady progress for months, and then something could trigger her and send her right back into feeling awful again. It would take her 2.5 years to learn the best methods for helping herself, which included therapy, taking care of her body, or playing music. All things that would successfully pull her out of bad spells or moments of feeling triggered. Gaga first revealed the story of a producer committing SA on the Howard Stern show in 2014. During that interview with Howard Stern, she said that the producer was 20 years older than her at the time, and that the horrific event inspired her 2013 track called Swine. Although the reason that she didn't tell anyone about this for many years is because she didn't want to feel defined by it. Saying during her interview, I'll be damned if somebody's going to say that every creatively intelligent thing that I ever did is all boiled down to one dickhead who did that to me. I'm going to take responsibility for all my pain looking beautiful. Adding, I did that. Even with revealing these new awful details though of this producer impregnating her and locking her in a studio for months, she still did not want to reveal his identity, saying that she saw him once in a store and it caused her to feel paralyzed by fear. And I can't even imagine what that must be like for her to go through, and go through alone really, just holding this dark secret for so long out of fear. But folks, that's where we're going to end this one for now, unless more details are released. Also, out of respect for Lady Gaga's story, I don't think it's appropriate to read out comments, so I will get you all on the next one. For now, I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy.
So yeah, what she said at the end about how, like, even just seeing him once caused her to become paralyzed with fear, I can totally understand why she wouldn't want to expose this man, because, like, we don't know what he fucking did to her in that studio, and so, you know, her fear is probably very justified.
Like, I feel like the fact that, like, she's talked about it, and, like, at any moment she could be like, you know what? I want to say who it is. Like, if there's that possibility, even though we know, like, she probably won't. Like, knowing that that's out there, he's probably shitting his pants.
Probably. Because Lady Gaga obviously has, like, bodyguards and security, especially after that poor incident with her dog walker. My god. But yeah, he's probably shitting the bed a little bit. He's like, oh fuck. I have just another short video here where it's just basically it's a clip of Lady Gaga from the actual documentary where she's discussing it, and it just kind of goes over what the article said already, but it's from her own mouth.
A producer said to me, "Take your clothes off." And I said no. They told me they were gonna burn all my music. And they didn't stop. They didn't stop asking me, and then I just froze and I don't even remember. When it hits you really hard, it can change you. I had a total psychotic break. And for a couple years, I was not the same girl.
My heart bleeds for Lady Gaga, it really does.
She cries, I want to cry.
Literally, oh Gaga, my heart hurts for you. She's always been such a powerhouse, and I've always respected her for being like, fuck you, I'll do whatever the fuck I want. But on that note, that is all we have for today's episode.
Yay!
Yay! Instagram and YouTube in the description. Thank you for listening if you did.
Thank you.